Hello, Professor Venkatesh. Could you hear me?
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to this event.
Yes, good morning.
If you allow me, I would like to briefly introduce you and welcome you to our student.
Yes, please go ahead.
A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to this webinar that is happening between Amity University Patna and Amity University Kolkata. You know, Amity Group has always been in the forefront to provide the best of the technologies for better learning of our students. Initiative in that direction. As our opening batsman,
Hello.
a great scientist has consented to be the speaker today. I would like to introduce, it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce him, Professor Dr. Drupajyoti Chattopadhyay. He is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Amity University, Kolkata. He has graduated as a Bachelor of Science from the Presidency College, Kolkata in 1973 with a major in chemistry. He did his Master's in Science in Biochemistry in 1975 and completed his PhD in 1984 from Department of Biochemistry at Bose Institute, Kolkata. Professor Chattopadhyay was the Dean, Faculty of Science at the university from 2003 to 2007, and he was the Pro Vice Chancellor of the university from 2008 till 2015. He was also the Director at the Center for Research in Nanosciences and Nano-Technology at the university during 7 and 15. Dr. Drupajyoti Chattopadhyay has received numerous awards, accolades, distinctions in his career. He received the prestigious UNESCO IUMS MIRCN's SGM Fellowship at the University of Texas. He was also the Fellow of the Indian Academy of Sciences in 2004 and Fellow of West Bengal Academy of Science and Technology in 2006. Dr. Chattopadhyay has lifetime memberships in various organizations and scientific associations. Dr. Chattopadhyay has a teaching experience of more than 35 years and guided many PhD students. He has around 102 research papers and 6 book chapters to his credit till date. Professor Drupajyoti Chattopadhyay is a scientist and academic par excellence. He has an established track record of highly innovative ideas and in-depth research activities. It is indeed, we are here at Amity University, Patna, privileged to have Dr. Chattopadhyay addressing all of us through this webinar. May I request all of you to welcome Dr. Chattopadhyay. Dr. Chattopadhyay.
Hello. Good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
Professor Venkatesh, Professor Pandey, the faculty members, and of both Amity University Kolkata and Amity University Patna, and my dear students from management. Our founder president, sir, he visualized that there should be the introduction of smart classrooms where the lectures from one university can be shared with other universities. And based on that, our Chancellor, sir, our Senior Vice President, sir, and other members, they have taken the initiative to introduce a smart classroom in Amity University, Kolkata, and Amity University, Patna. So this is the first event we are doing. So the students who are actually in Patna and in Kolkata, you should feel really happy that you are the first people who are actually having this historical event of sharing the knowledge with other university students. So let us give a big hand for our management. Now, dear students, um, I'm really feeling honored that I have to deliver the first lecture to in this particular series of lectures which we are going to have. And today, I want to share with you about one of the most important new technology, nanotechnology. So the management students, you may have this particular question in your mind that how come the nanotechnology and management? So I shall share with you some of my views, and I shall like that all of you can keep your questions ready so that we can interact also. So this is something, can I have the slides, please?
Dr. Chattopadhyay, uh,
Yeah.
please be a little louder.
Okay.
Audibility is,
Okay. All right.
yeah,
Could you
thank
hear
you.
me now?
Slightly better now.
Okay. So, so you can see that I'm going to share with you my views on this nanotechnology. Okay. How many of you heard about nanotechnology, this term? Oh, many of you actually. How about Patna students? You heard about nanotechnology? How many of you? Raise your hand. Very few. Anyway, so now the contents what we are going to discuss with you in the next couple of minutes is divided into this, that what is the relationship between MBA, you management students in the Masters of Business Administration, and nanotechnology. And there, I just want to share that, you know, that this venture in nanotechnology is always starts with, it has got huge commercial applications. Now, whenever there are commercial applications of any technology, management students should be interested. The second thing what I find that it's a cross-disciplinary in nature.
I think you need
So,
to speak into the mic.
hello, hello.
Yeah, now it is better.
Okay. So it's cross-disciplinary in nature.
Yeah.
And then you can see that it has got a lot of job prospects, particularly the area of startups. And startups are something which are challenging to the management students. Then it has got various revenue generation models. Right now, we're looking at these new technologies with respect to how far the revenues are going to be generated. And definitely, it is a future and have the capacity, have the power to capture the world and to change the world also. So I would tell you that nanotechnology is having a steady growth in the whole system. And when looked at it, you can see that from its inception, if you consider, there are smart regulatory things which are there in this technology, the sufficient patent protection, easy scalability, and sufficient reproducibility. And there are a lot of sufficient safety data which are incorporated into the technology itself, which is very important for from the perspective of management. And definitely it has got the confidence building of public as well as the industry. And there we can see the maximum scope of nanotechnology in which particular areas we could find it out that nanotechnology for flexible electronics. Flexible electronics is one of the area which are the future is looking forward to. The other thing which is very important that in the wireless devices, in wireless devices, it has got a huge application as well as in the molecular devices. So these are the three areas where there are huge amount of future applications. And there, the opportunities for these MBAs are, we consider it from entrepreneurship opportunities, as well as international exposure. Now, if these two combine together, there are also a huge scope for research and development, and which are going to give you the capacity to do a lot of different types of administrative opportunities also. So the essential skill sets, if we look at, we can find it out that there is a 360-degree view of nanotech sector, the interdisciplinary nature, the strategic exposure in terms of marketing, financial, human resource, production, logistics, and supply chain management. All these things are very important for all of you to understand. And there you can find it out that it will help in gaining an edge in cross-functional competencies. But when we adopt this technology, any new technology when it comes to, from the perspective of you, my dear students, you have to understand, we have to consider that what is the economic part of it. If you look at the economic part of it, you can look at it from the point of view of financial interpretation, the different types of projects, its legal aspects, the collaborations, and the building infrastructure. Now, when you looked at this from this economic area, this has got a huge social impact. Why we call it as has got a social impact? It is based on the different types of things what we can find it out for the corporate governances, and that corporate governance is also very important. And if we look at from the point of view of the business point of view, we can find it out. I mentioned to you earlier what it has got a huge scope of revenue generation. When you talk about revenue generation, then immediately it comes to our mind that the first thing is with respect to the startups. And when we look at the startups, different types of fundraising mechanisms are right now available. I hope all of you knew about the venture capitals. Right now for startups, we need the venture capitals, and there are huge scope for that also. And there's also, this particular technology is eco-friendly in nature. When you talk about eco-friendly in nature, that itself tells you that its sustainability is going to be more. The new technologies which are not eco-friendly, the sustainability is not going to be there. To make it sustainable, you have to be eco-friendly. So these are the things from the business point of view, you can think about it. And that itself gives us a huge complementation for the service sector. And I already mentioned to you the scope for research development, scope for these job opportunities, as well as the quality management. All these things are very important. Now, the benefits, again, coming back to my first slide, if you remember, I hope I could give you some sort of what is the importance for you to actually be present in this particular class. I hope, my dear Patna students, you can also understand there are a huge benefit because nanotechnology is the future of all different sciences. It has got a scope for high growth. It has got relatively new domain. It can venture the multiple sectors, and it has got a huge career options. But definitely now, I want to mention to you that I told you that this technology has got this scope. But the fundamental thing is that what is nanotechnology? So if you find out what is nanotechnology, I can tell you this term. Just try to visualize. If you look at a tennis ball, the tennis ball size is actually 7 into 10 to the power 6 nanometer. So that is nanometer dimension. And to visualize it, it's a little bit our hair. If you take our hair, this hair is around 80,000 nanometer. So the hair width is 80,000 nanometer. So you can understand the level of dimension we are going to consider for this nanotechnology. And so in that way, if we go down to the water molecules, water, what we are drinking, these are composed of molecules, and these water molecules are actually of 0.1 nanometer. So there comes our very interesting thing of definition that nanotechnology is understanding of the control of matter of the dimension of roughly 1 to 100 nanometers. And that is actually what we could see, that it is a nanometer is 1 billionth of a meter. So 1 billionth of a meter is nano. So that's the nanometer. And if we study anything at that level and develop any technology, that is nanotechnology. Is that clear to all of you? So you can understand that. So now, if we can go back, so width of 3 to 4 atoms for the science students also. Now, this has been coined long time back in 1959. The term is not there. Richard Feynman, in his lecture, he mentioned about there are something which is at the bottom of the physics. And there, that is the start of nanotechnology, of our idea. But the term nanotechnology came after 20 years, which was given by Norio Taniguchi, a Japanese scientist. Both of them got Nobel Prize for this particular work, what they have done. And we know that electron microscope, you heard about electron microscope? It's right. If you look at the electron level, the electron microscope is the one which helps us, which is in 1980s, helps us to understand and study this particular thing in a much better way. So there comes actually the genesis of nanoscience and nanotechnology. So where is the bottom? Could you see this picture? This is a picture of a flower tree. This is actually our vision of the 1 meter length. Go down a little bit. You can see on one of the leaf, there is a fly sitting. So that fly is actually a vision of 10 centimeters. We go down to 1 centimeter. Now it is the fly is focused. We go down to 100 micrometers. It is the eye of that fly. It is a picture of the eye of that fly. And you know that eye of the fly is composed of number of lenses. This is a picture of the lenses that goes down to 10 micrometers. Go down a little bit. These lenses are joined with a stick, a cone, that is visible at the level of 1 micrometer. Go down a little bit. 100 nanometers means the base of that particular cone, which are holding the different crystals. Okay? So that is actually how we look at this crystalline cone. If we go down, the DNA, you heard about deoxyribonucleic acid, it is of 10 nanometer. And if we go to the atoms, that is actually of nanometer level. So this is what, from the flower tree to come down to this level. But it's very interesting to find it out that historically this particular technology been utilized. And historically, when I said, it is important that you have read in the history books that the emperors, they drink in certain cups which changes its color. So there are a lot of story about it. And now we know that those cups are painted with something which is nano. At that time, they don't know. They have done it. And we call that time it's magic. Similarly, if we look at our Upanishad, in Upanishad, it mentioned that if we take here and divide it 100 times, again divide it 100 times, it goes to an order which is something completely different. So now I mentioned to you what is the width of the hair, and if we divide it 10 to the power of 4 times, 10,000 times, it becomes nanometer. So when in Upanishad it is mentioned, they don't know that it's nano. But now the science become this is actually there. And in that way, we came to know that at this level, these materials has got some novel properties. Normally, you know that if we look at the gold, gold means what? It's golden color. But gold, if you take to nanoscale, it becomes red. So similarly, if we have silver, the silver has got antimicrobial effect. At that time, you know that when the child born or for the gifts, we used to use a silver spoon. We used to use a silver vessels. Why? It's actually now we know those silver vessels, it has got some sort of antimicrobial property. So to feed a kid, we must have something which is devoid of microbes. Similarly, the copper, whenever copper comes to our mind, what we mean by copper, it conducts electricity, isn't it? But at nanoscale, copper cannot conduct electricity. That means the property changes, and that is what is important of nanotechnology, which is an interdisciplinary of all different areas of physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, and other sciences. So the stages in nanotechnology, if we considered, we know that the starting of the nanotechnology research and its application takes place in the year of 2001. Between 2001 to 2005, it is actually at the level of coatings, polymers, and ceramics. So ceramics industry, the coating industry, and the polymer industry use this nanotechnology. And one of the example I can give it to you, it was there in West for a long period of time, but right now in Newtown area, there are a large number of buildings which are being coated with nano pens. So why the industry is interested to have nano pens? Now you know that if you paint a building, what will happen? If we paint a building, it will stay for 10 years. After that, what do you have to do? You have to paint it again. But if you paint, why we have to paint it again? Because those pens has got pores which are few microns. And in that pores, microorganisms can grow. And that's why it degrades the color. And after 10 years, you have to repaint the whole thing. But if it is a nano pens, what happens? It is of nanometers size and bacteria cannot grow. And if the bacteria cannot grow, it cannot degrade the color. What will happen? It will remain there for a long, long period of time. So all these particularly all the Olympic stadiums in the last couple of years are actually been painted with nano pens. And so the industry is very, very interested to have this nano pens. Similarly, if you look at these active nanostructures, which came out from 2005 to 2010, it has got the transistors, it has got the targeted drugs, etc. So when we call the transistors, targeted drugs, etc., it is very important to find it out. Why it is important? The industry is looking for this because earlier, any particular instruments, if we talk about, it has got a dimension. But if you have the dimension of that instrument smaller and smaller, because it has got the transistors of the nanotype, then it will be easy to carry. Earlier it's very difficult when we talk about some manufacturing instruments, big dimension. But if you have these instruments with smaller transistors, what will happen? You can easily carry that. So from the point of view of manufacturers, it is very important. Similarly, the system of nanosystems and molecular nanosystems which are coming up, and we are looking forward to that in 2020. There comes the advantages. So the materials, what we are talking about in the nanotechnology, these are stronger, lighter, cheaper, durable, and precise. Now, if any particular material produced by any industry, if they have got these properties, what will happen? That industry will flourish. And that's good for the management also. Similarly, found that if you look at the industries, and million times huge application. So it has got a huge billion times fast.
Hello.
Respect to the when we talk about, the cancer patients, I am sure that some family members or anybody, the cancer patients, they normally have chemotherapy. And when they have chemotherapy, what happens? The drug destroys the cancer cells, but it also destroys the normal cells in the vicinity. So the patients, they can actually have lot of side effects of the drugs. But if we can target only the cancer cells for the drug to be delivered, what will happen? Then the side effects are not going to be there. And that's possible using nanotechnology. So that is where the nanotechnology actually gives a huge amount of this importance in the medical field. So in general, we call the 1950 to continuing is a fourth revolution, which takes place in the Pacific Basin in California as well as Japan, where it is synthetics, organic chemicals, and electronics. But the fifth revolution, if you consider, the fifth revolution is actually best in developing world like China, India, and Brazil. Why? Because it has got a huge potential for development in the area of nanotechnology as well as the molecular manufacturing. So we can see the expected big step with the impact, societal impacts. You know, the steam engine has got a huge impact, isn't it? Don't you think so? When it first discovered, when first used. But if you look at that impact versus the impact of nanotechnology, already which is there only from 2001, it has got a huge amount of impact. And that's where it becomes very important with respect to this combined impacts of nanotechnology. It is equal to the industrial revolution of the last 2 centuries. And that is only in just few years. So it provides us clean, secure, affordable energy, stronger, lighter, more durable materials, the low-cost filters to provide clean drinking water, medical devices, then lighting that uses fraction of energy, sensors to detect and clean harmful chemicals, and cooling in cars, refrigerators, air conditioners. And there the scope of nanotechnology is becoming very, very important with any industry in the food industry, in the catalytic industry, in the construction industry, in the aerospace industry, in the fire protection, in the military, in the consumer good industry. Everywhere we have the application of this technology. And there is the most important thing why you should know a little bit of this particular technology where you can have a huge scope for you in the future. So coming back to this construction industry, the coating industry, this is interesting. Um, have you seen the lotus leaves? If rain falls on any other leaves, it gets soaked on the whole leaf. But what happens to the lotus leaf? It makes a droplet. The rest of the surface never gets actually wet. So this is nanotechnology. This is not just nanotechnology. So now, if you in your windshield, why we use wiper? To clear the water droplets. But if it has got a nano coat, what will happen? The water will not wet and it will become a droplet and come down to the bottom. So a car without a wiper is a technology which is actually there in the lotus itself. So nature has all these things. We have to just pick it up and use it up. So that is what we call is at the coating industry. The paint industry is also in the in you know that in different types of paints, it becomes quite a bit of lot of fungus used to develop on the house. But it will not because the water will come down. Similarly, if we let all the different types of construction industry, say for example, cement industry, right now you must have seen in the TV that some cements are coming up which has got a huge strength and you cannot penetrate that wall. These are nothing but the strength of these nanomaterials in that cement. Similarly, in the steel industry, you know that when we take the nanoscale carbons, it is 1,000 times tougher than steel. So in Japan, most of this house, to make it earthquake resistant, they're using this nanomaterials so that during the earthquake, the buildings are not going to get damaged. So that is what we can see that in steel industry also it has got. Similarly, the wood industry, lot of new hotels which are 7-star or something like that. Earlier, if we had the hotels with the wood, you have to change that wood because it will get damaged after a couple of years because it's a some sort of some sort of water gets absorbed into that wood and the wood gets actually bad. But now these particular woods which are made up of these nanofibrils, these are absolutely can stay there for years after years, for more than 50 years. So the hotel industry is very much interested to have these particular things with this. Similarly, in the glass industry. I mentioned to you about the water droplets. Similarly, the food industry right now, there are a large number of food materials we are talking about, which has got this particular application of the nano industry. So in the agriculture, in the processing industry, in the nutrition, as well as the products, it has got a huge impact. So if you go back to the vehicle manufacturers or the aerospace manufacturers, now mainly for any particular aeroplane, what is one of the most biggest hurdle? It consumes a huge amount of fuel. Why it consumes a huge amount of fuel? Because it's quite heavy. Now, if we could have a materials which is lighter, but the strength is higher, then what will happen? The fuel consumption will go down. And in that way, this particular nanotechnology helps us to reduce the size of the equipment, decrease fuel consumption. It has got almost half of their weight with increasing their strength, and it has got lowering the mass capacitors. So in that way, this aerospace industry is really looking at the car's body. The car's body is also somewhere where you have the nanotechnology. You know the Toyota cars, all the bumpers of the Toyota cars. Earlier, the bumpers has to be heavy because it has to face the pressure so that there is no dent. But by nanotechnology, we are making these particular bumpers which are lighter, as well as it can actually protect the car from the huge impact from the collision. So that's what we can see in this case. Similarly, in the fire protection, the fire detection system, nanotechnology has got a huge. In case of the military uniform right now, nanotechnology is used in a very big way. It's very interesting to find out this Korean compartment. If you look at the different things from the helmet to the backpack to the camouflage, as well as from the machine gun, everything right now can have components which are coming out of nanotechnology. These are the examples I'm giving to all of you, that if you consider about the different types of startups or different types of manufacturing industries, the future lies in nanotechnology. Which application is going to make it a huge revolution in our understanding of the system? So in the military communication method also, the nanotechnology is being used in a very, very big way. In the military weapons, we can see the nanotechnology has got a huge impact. The new type of things which actually you can see that this one, the LAWS, it engage enemy targets at the speed of light using energy laser. At the speed of light, you can get that enemy target. So that these are the things which are becoming very, very important. And thereby, we are using lot of different types of things with respect to the industry, which we call it the textile industry. In the textile industry, you don't know, you are already using nanotechnology. The denim jeans, many of you are wearing that, and those denim jeans are actually has got this nano coats. Ray-Bans, these sunglasses, they have the coating of nano. And that's how you're getting UV protected also. So there are a lot of areas where you can see this particular consumer goods industry or the textile industry has got an application. And in the sports, one of the most important thing, I'm sure that many of you used to play tennis. In the tennis, for a player, what is most important? What is this actually the weight of your racket, isn't it? And also, in any particular tennis competition, the particular ball, tennis ball, it has to be changed after 25 services. Why? The ball has got some sort of defects developed during that period of time. Now, with this nanomaterial, it is possible to make the tennis balls which are much lighter. If you have a lighter tennis ball, what will happen? It can bump. It can bounce. And the second thing, if it is tougher, in one total game, you never had to change that ball. So in all Wimbledon tennis and all these particular tennis competitions right now, they're using the tennis balls which are made up of nanomaterials. Similarly, the rackets, if the rackets are lighter, it will be easier for the player. So all these sports instruments, you can see the reduced weight, the increased hardness, the wear resistance, the resiliency, all these things are true for any sports equipment, and it's being very well right now practiced in the area of tennis balls. Now, if you look at the consumer's good industry, there are huge number of these spa, facials, and other things are coming up. Over there right now, the nanotechnology has got a huge role to play. For the wrinkle-free creams, for getting the dark balls surrounding your eye, all these things could be prevented by using some nano cosmetics. And these are also coming up. So that's good for the cosmetic industry because that will help, that will have a huge business. So these are the areas where I find that there are huge impact of nanotechnology. And it has been found that in the global economy, there is a huge amount of investment in the area of electronics, in materials, pharmaceuticals, chemical manufacture, aerospace, tools, improved healthcare, as well as sustainability. And these amounts are increasing continuously. And there are a huge number of companies right now, they are actually into it. These are all major giants. These are all major MNCs. You can find it out that they are doing a lot in the area of nanotechnology. So if you have a concept, if you have an understanding of this, it will be easier for you to go for this type of jobs which are actually using the nanotechnology as one of the one of the things. So the examples of the current nano products is Dockers, this particular pants, the shirt, pants, and ties, the General Motors Safari and the Astro vans, then the Toyota bumpers I mentioned to you, the Wilson tennis balls, the Samsung, the carbon nanotube of televisions, all these things are actually the impact of nanotechnology which came out. So I am sure that you will now consider this is something which is very important for the future managers because you can think about the startups, you can think about this, all the different types of um, impacts which you can utilize. These are some excitements I thought that in the next 2 to 3 years, we can have artificial retina. Right now, if you actually have got something defects in your eye, you have to wait for some eye donor. But for this, by nanotechnology, it's possible to have this artificial retina. You don't have to wait for the eye donors. Similarly, the glucose levels. As I am talking, my glucose level may go up, my glucose level may come down. India is becoming the diabetes capital. Diabetes is something in relation to the glucose amount in our body. And that is where you can have by nanotech devices, you can have that in your ring, in your watch, which will tell you, oh, your glucose level is up. So this medicine will go into your body. So in that way, it will be very well managed. The 3D computer processing chips are the something which has got applications on everywhere. This is also coming up. This ultra thin loudspeaker, I don't have to carry this thing. I don't have to use this. This ultra thin loudspeakers which are going to be attached, and that is going to help us to deliver the addresses. Particularly, you know that when we are talking about the different types of DJ and other things where huge loudspeakers are being actually utilized, you don't need that. It has got a huge impact on having this, reviving the frozen organs. The color on demand. You can have all different types of colors using nanotechnology. Right now, you know, everything depends on the variety. And variety has got something in relation to colors. And different types. Earlier we know we have 7 colors. From the 7 colors, we're deriving more and more colors. With nanotechnology, you can have a huge number of colors developed. Similarly, you know, now the bombs and other things, what do you need? You have seen the airports, these dogs, you have to, the police is carrying the dogs. But in the airport, you can plant these plants, and these plants can actually give some response. Oh, somebody is carrying bomb. somebody is carrying narcotics. So we call these as sniffer plants. So these are also the product of biotechnology, this nanotechnology. So similarly, the nanoparticle and water purification, you will be happy. Even in Amity University, Kolkata, right now, one of the faculty member, he is coming up with a fantastic nano water purification system. And let us see what we can do, how we can contribute to that. Similarly, we can have the windshield to become virtual dashboards. From the windshield, you can actually get all the different information. Already the things which are in use, you have seen. When earlier, when we used to deliver lectures to an important, we have papers in our hand. But right now, we have seen Prime Minister is giving lecture. He has got nothing, but actually, he has got some sort of nanomaterials, with which he could visualize, and he can actually uh, give the whole lecture. So nanotechnology, solar energy is very important, and the future growth of nanotechnology, if we consider, see, no other technology has got a curve like this. This is the importance of nanotechnology. You can see the way the whole technology is actually from 2010, it is almost coming into the mass market. And we know that it will go to the whole mass market to after 2020. And there comes in North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, Latin America, and the Middle East. This is the growth of nanoscience, nanotechnology, which is coming up in different parts. And there we can see that this nanotechnology is going to give a huge amount of investment, huge amount of new companies to come up, as well as huge numbers of things which will come this. The graphene is one of the area of nanotechnology which gives us a huge amount of impact, and we could see that this is a curve for 2013 to the predicted till 2024, and between 2014 to 2025, in case of the tissue engineering, we could see this is the growth. So these are nothing but the market focused. The nanotechnology market value was 7.27 billion US dollars in 2017. And it is forecast that the market will see a compounded annual growth rate of 17%. So for the management people, this is something which is very, very important. If we have a 17% growth, and thereby we can see the huge impact in all the different areas of this nanotechnology in the industrial areas, and wide range of stakeholders, including the local governments of this particular technology. And the last one, I just want to tell you that employment opportunities, when this world forecast is coming, the highest number of employment opportunities in the management and business is in nanotechnology. You can see it's in 46%. So you, the future one, for you, it's a very, very important area where you can invade, where you can learn, where you can do a lot of things. And this reach of nanotechnology is going to help the finance, the IT, the retail operations, the marketing, the HR, and the operations, everything. And thereby, the importance of nanotechnology for my dear management students. And this gives you this whole idea that almost 50.3% of the attendees are working in R&D and business development are belonging to this different nanotechnology area right now, and it will increase more and more. I hope that I can share with you some excitements, some understanding, and some scope for you in the area of nanotechnology. Thank you very much. Um, Students from Patna and students from Kolkata, you have couple of minutes to ask questions. If you have any question, dear students.
Yeah, if you have any questions, faculty as well as students can ask.
You introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, thank you very much for sharing this much of information about nanotechnology. Sir, I would like to ask, what is silver nano and why it is used? And what is the approaches in nanotechnology?
Yeah. The silver nanoparticles are the silver at the nano size level. The IFB washing machine, the washing machine which has been produced by IFB, they started this silver nanoparticle best washing machines in the year 2000. This is a whole failure for them. It was found that it has got toxic effect on health. So the whole products of these materials, which has got a silver nanoparticles coated, has been, it was actually taken back by the company. So it's a huge amount of loss for them. What they have done, they have not checked that when they're coating with the silver nanoparticle in the washing machine, whether it causes some sort of toxic effect on the body. You are cleaning your all the clothes and everything, and when you are wearing back those clothes, you are having some reactions. And that particular reason is taken out. Then by research, it was found that 30 nanometers particle, but it should not be 30 nanometers. It should be 50 nanometers particles, which toxic effect on your body. So now IFB has got all, not only IFB, there are a number of washing machines which are coming up, which has got this silver nanoparticle based coated. So silver nanoparticle of a particular size has got antimicrobial property. And when actually identify them, we also have to be very cautious whether it has got any impact or toxic effect on the human population itself. Okay? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Now, in supply,
Sir, you may repeat the question. We have not heard it.
Hello. Hello. So how we can use nanotechnology to bring a strategic advantage in the field of supply chain management, or how we can improve the efficiency of supply chain?
could you get it? The supply chain management. Right. Now, when we talk about supply chain management, what is it?
Goods from one medium.
Yeah. So link all of them. So when we are talking about it can be transferred to any other manufacturer. It's a very important question. Reason why nanotechnology is very important, it has got a huge impact of supply chain management also. When we're talking about having the water purification system, whereby we're filtering the water, getting the purified water using some filters, so that is one technology. But this particular knowledge can be utilized for a lot of other cases. The cars. In the cars, during the servicing, what you have to do? You have to actually change the filters. Why? The mobile gets, actually its value gets down. So now these filters, if they are nano filters, what will happen? The same technology will. So supply chain management wise, the transferring the technology and application in different types of industries are very high. So that is how it will affect the supply. Any other question? Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So my question to you is, how safe is nanotechnology for the treatment of water bodies?
Yes. So the question is, how safe is nanotechnology for the treatment of water bodies. As I mentioned to you, nanotechnology is a technology, and we have to do research with which we can apply it to the different cases. Now, for the water purification or for the water source management, there are different types of applications of nanotechnology, but everywhere the most important thing is the study of nanotoxicity, because these water body treatments are very important because these are directly consumed by the living beings. So when we're talking about this, we have to study that nanoparticle size, whether it has got any toxic effect on the living beings. And thereby, it is possible to identify that specific size which is going to help to actually avoid any sort of nanotoxicity. But research in all the time when we are going to implement any of this nanotechnology is very important. Yes. Any other?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Very good morning.
Good.
Sir, just I want to know that just is there any options where we can use the for marketing project or marketing management research where we can use the nanotechnology concept? Is there any options? Suppose we are doing or we are making some project on retailing or digital marketing also. Is there any options, sir, where we can use this concept?
Yeah. Around the way, I can tell you that when you're talking about this digital marketing, so in the digital marketing, you have to depend on some sort of electronic devices, all right? And these electronic devices, if we can have something, as I mentioned to you in the computer industries, if we have the computers million times smaller but billion times faster, what will happen? Processing of any information could be done easier way. In all digital marketing, what you have to do, you have to process a huge amount of data, and these data has to be processed, and then proper proper step has to be taken. And there, definitely the nanotechnology using nanocomputers are going to help. Yes, I think some over here, yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
Successful Just wait, one person, Mr. Kolkata. Yeah. So this is actually one of the most important question, I think, for all of us right now we are looking at. Now, one is employment scenario with respect to the start. Now, if you can think about entrepreneurship and the startups, it is possible to this implementation is starting much amount of it. Second thing is that government Indian government actually is in a very big way in for starting you can get a huge support from the government also to start up these industries. The industry numbers increase by a huge number. Say, for example, when I'm talking about the sniffer plants. So once the sniffer plants in the market and the sniffer is produced by a large number of people from different parts, then because that will not take a huge area, one of the major problems industry, it needs a getting land is a challenge. Similarly, huge investment, that is also a challenge. So if you can get to start in a small area, a less amount of investment, you can easily understand the sustainability for that industry will be higher. Because the rolling up of the money is going the loss possibility will be low.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Sir, give me some brief knowledge about what is the use of nanotechnology in artificial intelligence, sir.
Yeah. The artificial intelligence is very much dependent upon right now with respect to the different types of microelectronic devices.
Yes, sir.
And when you are using this nanotechnology, can devices are going to be much actually processing of information. So any information processing process, if it gets faster, that is going to help you in the artificial intelligence.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay? Yes. Hmm.
Very good morning, sir. So I want to ask that is
Mhm. Um, if we look at this graph which has been drawn, it has been predicted that based on that is actually we are predicting around 17% growth. So the graph is going to have this growth rate to be considered at 17%. That we can predict till 2023. Yes. Anyone from Patna?
hello, a very good
Yes.
morning, sir. So I want to ask that for getting job in sales and marketing, is MBA course is only required for doing job in nanotechnology, or should we opt for some extra specialization for that?
See, the how in what particular capacity you are going to be absorbed, there it depends on that. Now, if you have some idea about what is nanotechnology, and you have seen that there are so many different companies already started to venture into this area, and as my student from youth, whether it is good for possibility of starting the nanotech industry, getting higher and higher, you can easily understand that at a level of managerial post, the scopes will go up. For there, this particular concept in the management, along with your understanding of the technology, for that you don't need that specialization in nanotechnology for the MBA courses. Okay, so MBA courses for helping this getting the venture capital. So for getting the venture capitals, what you have to do is something where is a financial implication, profits and loss in that particular industry. Those are the things you have to calculate. So that you can do it with respect to your knowledge from this. In the core industry of nanotechnology or in the R&D area, you need the knowledge of nanotechnology specifically. Otherwise, not. Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is if you'd kindly discuss about the ethical nanotechnology in management.
Thank you. The This is a very important question that with respect to the ethical, remember the first slide, the in from in rights and constitutions are associated in technologies. It was not so, but it is a learning process for any person over the world that any new technology, when it will come, the one of the most important fact you have to consider, the nanotechnology is doing really good. And in fact, from 2000, now in India, we don't have a legal introduction of nanotechnology, but it is coming up. The policy will be announced after this 19 government is going to be of science and tech. What is important ethics and ethical considerations to implement the technology is very well taken care of nanotechnology. The last question, because we are
Good
already
afternoon,
bit
sir.
about
I
time.
want to ask that what are the cons of nanotechnology? Cons.
Okay, what in general? Yeah. Okay. At look at any new technology which is coming up. First of all, what are the different things what we consider? Is that the impact of that technology, its economics, as well as what are the benefits we can get out from that technology. Okay. Now, when we talk about this, there are a number of things we don't know yet because this started to get in only to find out if there are certain things which are actually we are considering right now. So we have to wait for a couple of more years to actually answer what actually we can. But we have to close it because, yes. Uh, Slides are bumpers with respect to the fuel combustion, the electronics with respect to the dashboard using the windshield.
So I mean, in terms of the energy that will be used, since the fuel
Goes down. Yeah. Oh no. So the battery itself, you can have the you don't have to actually charge your battery every 15 days. If we can actually develop a battery with nano devices, which can be there for a month or for a year, slowly we will go to that. So in that sector, definitely, first of all, by reducing consumption, second, making new transistors, batteries, and other things so that the battery can have a longer sustainability. Yes. So thank you very much to both Professor Venkat.
Sir,
Yes. Yes. Yes,
Dr.
Professor.
Chattopadhyay, we
Yes.
on behalf of Amity University Patna would like to thank you for taking up such a new topic, because prior to attending this session, I was only knowing that Nerolac paint is using nanotechnology because they show this in their advertisement.
Uh-huh.
But today I have come to know that there is lots of scope of nanotechnology and future belongs in this technology only. So at this juncture, I would also like to thank our founder president and senior vice president, as well as Gaurav Gupta ji, for providing us this opportunity to interact with other campuses and understanding new and emerging areas from such an esteemed professors. Thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you very much. And just to announce it that the next Friday, there will be a lecture delivered by Professor Venkatesh, who is one of the pioneers in the area of finance. So he is going to deliver the lecture on finance from Patna for the students of Amity University, Kolkata also. And looking forward to next Friday's lecture. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.